Cher Yann, est-ce que le fait d'écrire en français accentue chez toi la perception de la matérialité de l'écriture et donc d'une contrainte éventuelle?
Well, this is a very complicated question, actually. I suppose relatively interesting in my particular case, because purely coincidentally, my starting to write in French coincided chronologically with my starting to write on computers rather than by hand. But I don't really think the two are connected. I think it's just, the way things turned out. I mean, I don't continue writing in English by hand and write on the computer in French. I think that the change from paper to computer would have happened anyway, and it just so happens that I started around that time to write mostly in French. And so I have never actually really written in French on paper to any great degree, except in workshops, I suppose, and shopping lists.
C'est excellent.
It never is just translating words. I don't think. When you translate a normal author, so-called normal author, you're also translating their syntax, their style, the way they make sentences. And that can be as complicated as translating a formal constraint. I don't think that it would be I don't think it's any simpler to translate Proust, for example. If you want to convey something of the feeling of Proust's prose in another language, I don't think that's going to be any easier than translating Georges Perec's Disparition, to be honest with you. Well, the constraint is purely a particularly obvious and visible sign of how a text is made. When you translate a text, you need to discover or rediscover or find out for yourself to a certain degree how the text was made, and then make it again in another language. So that process is not entirely dissimilar to constraint-driven writing, I suppose. Even if there is no apparent, nothing formally apparent going on, it's still there. There's the structure, there's the rhythm of the text, as I say, the way the sentences are made. Are they long, are they short? How easy is that to convey in English? If you have a sentence running over a page and a half in French, are you going to have a sentence running over a page and a half in English, or are you going to cut it into 3 pieces, for example? What do you lose and what do you gain? These are all considerations which are as great as, to my mind, as how am I going to write this sentence without an E, or how am I going to make these 2 lines of poetry rhyme when no obvious rhyme exists in English? These are all very similar situations, I think.